I know you guys what you're thinking, and I don't even know where to start this video. I have not been budgeting. I have not been budgeting. I'm just gonna come out and say it. It has been a couple of weeks that I have not budgeted. So let me get into what I plan on doing going forward. All right, my budget has been out the window for a couple weeks now. It kind of started when I went to Banff to go and visit my daughter. So I live in southern Alberta. Here in Canada, I live about 3 hours away from the Rocky Mountains, and my daughter does work in the vicinity of the Rocky Mountains. So I went there to visit her over the course of 3 days, and I did not budget that trip. So that's kind of what started it all, and it's just been kind of a roller coaster. We all know how that goes. That's why we all started cash budgeting. At least that's why I started. So I have not budgeted. I have not withdrawn cash and done a cash budget for probably a week and a half now. What are my plans going forward? So I really think I'm going to start over. One thing that I did do recently is we did have company stay at the house, and I felt that I just carried too much cash in the house, even in my safe, and I wanted to deposit it into the bank. So I have I've deposited some of my envelopes that are in my binders, and I deposited into the bank. For example, I deposited my home renovations was getting $500. My hunting envelope was getting over $500, and my 10,000 savings challenge was getting like over $600. It was just too much cash that I was willing to keep in the house. And also another thing that I did when I did go to Banff, I actually took out money from my travel envelope, because you guys know my travel envelope is for gas money pretty much to go and visit our kids, and I had $180 in there, which wasn't even enough, honestly, because I had to fill up my car, I think it was 3 times over the course of those 3 days, because we ended up going to Jasper, Alberta, which is about 3 to 4 hours away from Banff, and that really dug in to that $180. So that was pretty much gone strictly to gas, and like I said, it wasn't even enough. And then I also took out the cash from my own envelope. So I do have my own envelope. It's labeled Janet. I put money in there, and it's just for whatever I wanted. So I used that money for my own souvenirs. Like I bought myself this little sweatshirt from when we went to Jasper, and just a few little things. Honestly, I didn't have a lot of money in that envelope. So I depleted completely my travel envelope and my Janet envelope, as well as I took out the money and deposited into the bank of those categories like I had mentioned. So I feel like my envelopes, you guys, are really suffering. Like not in a sense of, it just makes a difference when you deposit money into the bank, because I'm so used to now having a cash budget. So when I look, and my binder like isn't even that thick, and I look into like my renos, for example, envelope, which are my cute Halloween set, by the way. I still have a couple sets of my Halloween set. I did up this kind of placement holder. I'm not sure if I like it or not, but I did do this up myself. I did up a couple ones also. But for example, like this is my Renos envelope. Hopefully you can see that says Renos with the cute Halloween sets that I have on my Etsy shop. It's always linked in my description. But all that's in there now is my placeholder, which is great. Yes, that money is in the bank, but I've done that for a few of my categories now in my binder. And honestly, I just want to start over. Like, I feel like I just want to start over. So I don't know exactly what my plans are and what I'm going to do about that, because I don't know. I just don't know exactly what I'm planning on doing with my budgeting and everything like that. I still am going to be doing it. I just don't know exactly how I'm going to go about it, and if I am going to start over again, like as far as my cash wallets. I am getting very, very close with my yearly subscriptions. So that's actually in this one here. This is my long-term savings binder. And in here is where I keep, for example, my taxes. So this is money just to get our taxes prepared. And I have about over half of that funded. And then same with my Apollo, which I rave about all of the time. My Apollo is our online cable company where we get movies, all of the channels, news, sports, everything. And I am over half with that. Same with my car registration, I am over half with that. So I'm almost at goal. These are due, they're all due in March. We get our taxes done, our car registration, and the Apollo is all due in March. My goal is to have it fully funded by the end of this year. So I'm getting very, very close with those. So I'm like, do I just fund those and deposit that money into the bank, you know, because each category is probably $200 or $300 of those, and then do I just kind of start over, you know what I'm saying? And because those are the 3 envelopes that I have left, other than my hunting one. My hunting one is about half funded, and the goal is to have that fully funded by the end of October. So that is definitely a goal, and that is kind of it, like as far as goals, financial goals to hit. And another thing that is really like, I don't know how I'm going to work this, is I have mentioned that Jimmy, my husband, is doing a side hustle job. So my husband is working like a side hustle job, which he is getting paid cash, and it's getting e-transferred to us, and that money is getting transferred then over to our tax-free savings account. It's like, it's so confusing to keep track of, like, because now our emergency fund, which I have explained, and I do have an envelope here for my emergency fund. I have I place card holders in it, and it's $1,500. We have more now than in that emergency fund, aka our tax-free savings account. We have more than $1,500 in there now. So it's really confusing to kind of keep track of everything and keep it updated in my binders, like if that makes sense. I'm really trying hard. Like when I deposited the money from the categories, I then put well, at first it was like a sticky note, and then I made place card holders for those envelopes, like my renos, right? $500 place card holder, so I know $500 that is in our account is set aside for renovations. So what I've done, this is what I've done so far. Nothing has been done in my binders, but it's been done in the bank. So we have a tax-free savings account where we put all of the money that Jimmy makes from his side hustle job, plus the money that we have in our emergency fund, and that's what we keep in our tax-free savings account. We will not be doing anything with that money. That's just for when Jimmy's done work, retirement, holidays, blah, blah, blah. Nothing to do with that money. And then in our savings account, which is accessible, like I can transfer from our savings account to our checkings account instantly, whereas the TFSA, I can't do that. So in our savings account is where I have like where I deposited the $500 for renos, the $600 for the 10,000K challenge, the hunting and the renovation money I deposited into our savings account. The money from the 10K challenge, which is going to be used for travel, I put in the tax-free savings account. So it's very confusing even for me right now talking about it. It is very confusing, but I do know where my money is at, and I know what, because of the place card holders, I know what is saved for what. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense to you guys. But I'm just really contemplating on restarting all of it because it's getting really confusing, and I plan on, I'm going to make another envelope, I think, for my savings account and for my TFSA account. And then, you know, when Jimmy gets an e-transfer for his side hustle work, I transfer that. I have to phone the bank and talk to our financial advisor to transfer it over to our TFSA. And then I will then add a place card holder or something, because I will not be withdrawing that money physically, just to, again, deposit it into our tax-free savings account, because we are not touching any of that money. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And that's why I'm really contemplating on starting this all over again. And I feel like, you know, it's normal. This is normal to do. It's just because I do it on YouTube that maybe it sounds confusing to you. But I guarantee you, anybody that does cash savings, cash wallet, cash envelopes, they're constantly changing things up. And to each their own. Like, I just don't feel comfortable with anything over $500 in my cash envelopes. That's just me. Yours might be $2,000 for an envelope. It doesn't, it's some people it's $100, you know, but that's just for our case and our scenario. So I'm really contemplating doing that, and then just like pulling this money. Like, another thing is going to be emptied very soon is going to be birthdays, because I pretty much have that fully funded. The next birthday is October 12th, and that's for our daughter. And that is going to be it for birthdays. Like, so Jimmy has a birthday at the end of November, mine is in December, and then we're good until May. So I really think that I'm just going to pull that and deposit it, because I just e-transfer it then to our kids. Our kids are all older, and start over as well for that. That's what I'm thinking. What do you guys think? Have I confused all of you yet? Pretty much, it's like I've spent a lot of some of the money, right, with my trip to Banff. I've deposited a lot of the money because we had company and I just didn't feel comfortable having all that cash. And that's kind of my reasoning to start over. So I'm not sure exactly what I want to do yet, but I did want to come on here and tell you what has been happening and what I'm thinking of doing and what's been kind of going on with my budget. And you know, it's a lot, and a lot of the things have been done, like I mentioned, is just kind of virtually. Like, if I do get an amount, then I am e-transferring it to my other accounts, so visibly you're not really seeing that money. And I haven't been really physically adding my cash budget, you know, on a weekly basis lately. So I'm thinking about it. I definitely will have an answer and figure it out hopefully by next week on what I'm doing exactly. And going forward, another thing that has really been on my mind and what I do need to figure out before December 1st is what's going to happen financially after Jimmy retires December 1st. So December 1st is his retirement date. He will be done work. He is then going for surgery in January. And I really have to think of how I'm going to do the budget. If I'm going to do the budget still on a weekly basis, where am I going to get that money from in order to cash stuff, and how I'm going to work that. And I'm really going to have to talk to Jimmy about that to figure out what we are going to do and, you know, figure it out. But that is just kind of my thoughts. I kind of have a lot going on and a lot to kind of organize and figure out. And then hopefully next week I will come back with some answers for you and we can get back on track with our finances. So that is it for today's video, you guys. I just wanted to give you that quick update to tell you where I have been at financially. And I will see you guys next week. Please make sure that you like this video and make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Thanks for watching.